Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J Dog.
Mike, it's good to see you, but I kind of like doing the show without you.
Wow, just the one-man show. It's an interesting flow. You always wonder how Colin Cowherd can do it by himself, right? He's just sitting there talking to the endless world. It almost seems like you're going a little crazy. Not that you sounded crazy, but
no, I sounded crazy. I don't know if you listened to the show yet last week. I talked about you a lot of direct attacks. So you probably should. But I did talk about Colin Cowherd and how he does 3 hours a day by himself. And now he's got Joy Reid or Joy, whatever her name is, Taylor
whatever
is the sidekick. He's got a sidekick to bounce stuff off. You know, Dan Patrick's got the Danettes. So they're starting to come up with people to bounce stuff off. Last week, you want to listen to one of the best shows the Sports Hangovers has ever done, just drop down and listen. 11 minutes, NFL draft preview. Okay. I feel like I nailed a lot of the predictions, set the scene in Vegas. So we'll get to all the NFL draft talk, but we got to tell people, like I moved to LA a month ago, and all we do is go to Dodger games. All we do is go to Dodger Stadium. We've been twice in like 4 weeks, Mike.
Too much. I have something on that later in the show. I have some food news around Dodger Stadium. But yeah, we went to the Dodger game twice within like 3 weeks. Went to a day game and a night game. Sat in 2 different locations, and you loved the outfield. You were just loving it. Home runs coming our way, booing at people, throwing the ball back. It was a good time.
Dude, Miguel Cabrera just got his 3,000th hit in baseball. I was hyping him up to you at the brewery before the game. Like, we're going to see a stud, and the stud hit it to our section, like 15 feet away. Like, if it was just the wind was blowing just a tiny little bit to the right, like it would have hit you and me and your French cousin who had never been to anything like that. I think he was blown away by Dodger Stadium. And that's the thing. This isn't a Dodger Stadium podcast, except today it is, because when you are at Dodger Stadium, when you're sitting behind home plate, you sit so high and far away from everything. But a tip is go to the outfield, kind of the same price ticket, not much more. Cheaper. And you're like on field level. You're like on the field. I know you're farther away from home plate, like where the batter is, but you're in play. You can catch a home run ball. You're close to the fielders. The dudes were throwing balls at us. We were in the mix for balls a couple times. So I thought it was great out there.
And guys are throwing balls too. Like they're like, I don't know what those extra balls were, but they're throwing them up to some kids. People were hyped up. I got a lot to say about the food. I got a whole food.
We'll get to the food. The draft happened.
Yes.
Should we recap?
Yeah, let's do a little recap, because I didn't watch it, but you were not even excited about it. I called you on Friday. I'm like, hey, should we do a recap show? You're like, no, it's boring. So that's where we're at. So this is not a recap show. This is an overview of what happened.
No, we're not calling it the NFL draft recap. No one wants that. But it is the year of the wide receiver. And we saw this coming throughout free agency. We saw it coming when Christian Kirk got paid first as a free agent. Then we saw it with the trades, Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. And it continued in the draft. So many great receivers went in the first round. I think there was 6. There was a run on them from 10 to 12. I'm going to tell you about in a second. But also the guys who got traded. A.J. Brown traded. Hollywood Brown was traded. We've had so many good receivers changing teams this offseason, and it's telling you something about the NFL, right? It's telling you where the NFL is going.
Well, I mean, some of the trades were made because they couldn't come to like terms, right? Like, I don't think A.J. Brown was going to come to terms with Tennessee, so he's gone.
Right.
And then Hollywood was like, well, we kind of know somebody's getting suspended here, so we got to get somebody in to replace it. I didn't think Hollywood Brown was like a big one. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, is he any good? And I guess he's okay, and I guess he's friends with Kyler. I guess this is a trend. We just hang out with our buddies. Like, I played with you in college, come play with me in the NFL. Why not?
You're right. The NFL is becoming the NBA like that. Like everyone just joining together. Like, hey, I don't want to play for the Packers. I want to go play with you, Derek Carr. Like a weird idea, but go do it. You can do it. Hollywood Brown's an interesting one. He got traded for the 23rd overall pick, and that's really high. That's basically what A.J. Brown got traded for, and they're 2 completely different players. But we've never seen Hollywood Brown perform at his full level in the Baltimore offense because Lamar doesn't air it out like other guys. 2, he played football with Kyler Murray at Oklahoma, as you mentioned. So they have the chemistry, and he would have been very high on their list. And 3, we didn't know about the Hopkins suspension. Beaver tranquilizer is one of the things he was taking.
I don't know what's that. I mean, obviously he was in pain or something over the season. I just don't know. In a way, it was like the 2 trades were better values than getting a rookie, right? Because a rookie's so up in the air. You could draft a rookie and he could never play in the NFL, or he could just be a bust, or he could be a superstar. And I think that's the issue too. It's like, how do you value it? Are you going the Rams route where you're like, who cares about the draft? Like, we'll get anybody, like free agents, bring them our way. We'll take them. So I kind of like it. It's almost mixing it up a little. They've seen it. It's a proven not a commodity, but it's proven that you can win a championship without getting people in the draft. You just have to buy them. And if you got money, you can buy them. So
that's right. And the Rams and the Dolphins and the Raiders and many other teams are now trying to figure that out firsthand. I think a couple things to think about here. The Titans did exactly what you're talking about. They traded A.J. Brown for, I think it was the 18th pick in the draft, and they took a receiver from Arkansas, a big-bodied receiver who might get hurt a lot, to essentially replace A.J. Brown. Now, Ryan Tannehill apparently is very upset about this. He's been in a lot of therapy, as he talked about this week. He's been in therapy since he blew the Bengals playoff game.
Oh, not physical, January. Like real therapy.
Mental therapy, because he really did blow that game. And he's blown a lot of games in his career, by the way. So I can understand.
He should have been in therapy for years.
Like in Miami, maybe it would have helped him. Blew a lot of stuff down there, including his career. And so there's that. And then he was upset that they drafted Malik Willis in the third round, maybe the second best quarterback in the draft after Kenny Pickett. And so he said, I'm not going to mentor him. He's not going to mentor him. It's not his job to mentor him, he said.
Supposed to go to Seattle. Didn't get. Seattle's sticking with what they got, but
Seattle's doing Drew Lock, but But then the final thing for Tannehill is then they traded away A.J. Brown. He said he had a sleepless night again. So the guy, if you're thinking about mental thoughts for people, think about Ryan Tannehill in this time because he's really going through a tough time.
Well, okay, does it? I had a bullshit or believe, but we can talk about it. Does it even matter that Tannehill?
Can you wait? If you're gonna play bullshit or believe, you need to play the sound.
Bullshit or believe.
Follow the rules.
Time. Bullshit or believe time. Bullshit or believe. Okay. Does it even matter? Bullshit or believe? Does it matter that Ryan Tannehill will not mentor the rookie QB? Because he said it in the statement, and it was kind of like, all right, you're going to be in the same room. It almost seems hostile in a way. Because if you said, Mike, I'm not prepping with you before the show, I'm not talking to you before the show, but I will play football with you. You're like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, we're going to be hanging out a lot. You're not going to talk to me. No, I'm not going to mentor you. So it doesn't even make sense. It's like, half of mentoring, I feel like, is just letting the guy like watch you play or your thoughts on something. It's not like you got to carry him around. I think
you make a great point. And hostile is a great word for it. Because why did this have to be this way? He could have just chosen his words completely differently. Even if he wanted to not necessarily help Malik beat him, which by the way, Malik Willis is not accurate at all. And I know Ryan Tannehill isn't very accurate. Tannehill has like 2 years, they say, before Malik Willis even learns the playbook and can have more accuracy. So he shouldn't have in his head that he's competing with him now. But the word hostile is a great word because he made it hostile. It didn't have to be that way. And like we see it across the NFL, like the Dolphins traded for Tyreek Hill, knowing that he can help mentor Jalen Waddle, maybe the next Tyreek Hill, a small, fast receiver. And that's like a given. And like they talk about how they're already running routes together in Miami. Like why are other positions able to do that? And then quarterbacks, it's like, no, it's not my job. Like Ben Roethlisberger was always like this in Pittsburgh. We've seen it time after time with the veterans and the rookies. Like you make so much money, the franchise is paying you to do a lot of things. It's not just play on Sundays. It's to be a leader for the team, and being a leader involves helping the guy next to you.
Don't you think it's hard though? Because if you are a veteran, you've been playing for a while and you've had a lot of up and downs, right? Tannehill, I would say not consistent. He's up and down, was traded, was the backup. Then he took over. And now he's here. He's got a starting position. I would kind of feel threatened too, because your whole career was like, well, you're a starter. Well, then you kind of suck. We're going to trade you away. You're going to go somewhere else. You kind of suck again, but then you take over. So I think he might be worried, and that therapy hopefully will help him, but he's not doing too good. No receiver. I don't know. I just don't know the thought process to say it out loud. Because you have to go back into that. Like, it's a QB room, right? We've all watched Hard Knocks. They all sit in the same room together. It's not like they all get separate pods and like, I'm going to do my own thing over here, man. So who knows what's going to happen, but I'm not betting on them. By the way, we are officially doing the circuit contest this in Vegas this year. Our mutual friend and I, that is the super contest where you bet against the spread, 5 teams every week. The same thing that
you raised enough capital to do this.
We're self-funded this year. We're going to do it ourselves. We're going for it, and we're going to win. Now, the fun thing is, and I saw in the rules, if you want to join, there's a thing called the Booby Award. And if you are the worst every quarter or just one quarter out of the season, you win $25,000.
If you're the worst.
They're
telling you it's hard to be that bad, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of fun. I was thinking about getting 2 accounts, one for us to try the win and one for us to try the lose, because you could make $100,000 if you lose the right amount of times.
I think even if you don't enter them both in the super contest, you should do it just so we're all aware that the picks you're trying to win with are actually worse than the picks you're trying to lose.
Yeah, I know, because some weeks I'm sure it'll be the opposite, which is
I'm
also
sure at
fair.
the season-long tally. I just want to recap, by the way. It's the year of the receiver. In the draft, it was a run on receivers. The Jets took Garrett Wilson at 10. The Saints traded up. They traded up a lot to get Chris Olave at 11. They have Michael Thomas. It's an Ohio State pipeline down in New Orleans. They have the receivers. The cornerbacks are all coming from Ohio State. They're comfortable with the system. And then number 12, Jamison Williams. This guy tore his ACL, I believe, with Alabama last year. He's going to miss the first few weeks of this year. The Lions trade up from the back of the first round up to 12. And this is what I predicted on the Sports Hangover last week without you. There's going to be a receiver run right in this area, and it happened at 10, 11, 12. Those three guys will be superstars in the NFL. Like, not quite Jamar Chase, probably one notch below. Not sure the Lions will be able to have a quarterback to complete passes to him, but look out for those three names in fantasy. Also, just to recap the discussion on the free agents trading teams, it's Tyreek Hill was traded. Devontae Adams was traded. A.J. Brown, Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson signed with the Rams. Amari Cooper got traded to the Browns. It's been an epic offseason for receivers.
It's going to be confusing for fantasy for sure, for gambling. And there's still guys out there. Like, what is Odell doing? Like, where's he going? He hasn't signed a one-year deal yet.
Go Green Bay, right?
No, I don't think he's going to go to Green
What?
Bay. Why would Odell go to Green Bay? I think Odell would sign for a cheap contract in LA before he goes out to Green Bay. He wants to be.
But LA kind of revamped the receivers. They have Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson now. Does he want to be the third guy?
But do we think Allen Robinson's that good? Like,
the Rams paid him like he's pretty good.
No, I know, but they got to pay somebody, right?
He's had bad quarterback play for his whole life.
I know. I have some bullshit or believe QB edition.
All right.
If you want to play.
Yeah.
So RG3 ran during some sort of like conference or something last week, and he ran a 4.48 40. And he got calls from tons of teams. Now that's pretty fast. So I was going to say, what teams, bullshit or believe, should he go to? And I have a list of teams here. So my first team is the Bears.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Seattle.
No, they're on the list. So.
The Bears need a quarterback. They have Justin Fields. They invested 2 first-round picks to take him last year, and he's not very good. So I think Jimmy G could still be a landing spot in Chicago if they want to win this year. I don't know that Robert Griffin will help them win, but sure.
So this is also the question. Do you think he can actually still play? Because he was very fragile and he didn't seem like he could.
Right. So he was very fragile when he was young and now he's not young. So what is he now? And it's just on the 40 time. It's like, has anyone seen him throw a spiral? Does anyone know if he works out and still throws passes at all? If he wants to be like a running back, maybe he can come back on that 40 time. But as a quarterback, there's a lot more he needs to do well.
Do you not think it's the same as like Colin Kaepernick? Like Kaepernick hasn't been in the league for, I don't even know how many years now. Like, let's say 6 to 8 years. He hasn't been in the league.
It's been that long.
I have no idea. When was the last time? Like 2016, maybe?
Yeah.
So let's say 2016 he hasn't played. He's a little older now. I don't think you can just, every time there's a quarterback that needs to be filled, like in Seattle, it's like, oh yeah, we're speaking the Kaepernick. It's like, are people really speaking the Kaepernick, or is it just kind of like a thing people say now?
Unless you're playing in one of these extra leagues like the USFL or the FCF or whatever else is out there, how do we know that you still have any skills? Your skills could have definitely depreciated over 2 to 6 years. No, I don't trust anyone who's been out of the league for a couple of years, and not even RG3. I think he's a pretty good analyst. I actually like him on TV.
I like him. I haven't listened to him.
He's smart.
It seems like a fun job when you're an analyst after like football. It seems like a good just like gig if you can be good.
Well, it's just what we're doing without getting paid.
I know, well, not yet.
We make some money.
All right. So I have Baker, bullshit or believe. Where can he go? I'll just list the teams that I thought he could go to, and you tell me. So I have Seahawks, Carolina, Houston, Lions, and the Giants. All for Baker. I think
it's more likely he ends up on the Birmingham USFL team at this point, because the truth about Baker is the NFL draft just happened, and not one team gave one terrible draft pick to acquire him. So now what? Deshaun Watson's in Cleveland. The draft is over. Teams have their quarterbacks. All these teams who didn't have a quarterback now have a backup who's a rookie. Where would he go? And I can't find a spot at this time.
Do you think that it's more of a waiting game? It's like, how long can we wait before the Browns, release him? Or are the Browns just not willing to give up an additional pick to get rid of him? Because I think that's what it comes down to. They just have a dead asset that they can't do anything with. And all the teams know that. So they're trying to leverage the thing. It's like, well, yeah, I'll take Baker, but I need a 3rd round pick, a 5th round pick, and I need to pay half of his salary. And then I'll take him. I think
Didn't you
that's
love that trade back in the day with Brock Osweiler when he got traded? Was it to the Texans from the Broncos, and the Broncos gave up like a 2nd round pick with him?
Yeah, and
maybe they have to do a deal like that. Yeah, because Baker's making $20 million this year, and right now the Browns are on the hook for that. And I think every team clearly rejected the Panthers, the Falcons, the Titans. So far, the Seahawks, they've all rejected $20 million for Baker for a cheap draft pick. So what's next? Maybe the Browns have to give up a pick, except they don't have any because they gave them all to Houston.
I know. Next one is Jimmy G. It seems like he's on the block to be traded. They really want to go Trey Lance. I don't understand why they want to go Trey Lance. It doesn't look like it would be much of an upgrade, but I have Washington, Miami, Carolina, Houston, Seattle was a question mark, and then New York, I think, was the one I lean to the most because it could be a good replacement.
All right. First of all, Mike, you need to take Miami out of your mouth when you're talking to me. Okay. About quarterbacks. Because my guy, Tua, he's 2 years removed from hip surgery, and you should see this man on Instagram whipping passes with velocity down in Miami. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball with a lot more hip turn, and the coach is yelling, turn your hips, and he's firing that hip, and he wasn't able to do that last year. So now removed from the hip surgery, Miami doesn't want Jimmy G. We're rolling with Tua. We got Tyreek too, so we're gonna see how it goes.
All right.
I know you're looking that up. I mentioned the Bears. I think if the Bears want to win now, they trade for Jimmy G. If they don't want to win now, which by the way, their draft, they kept trading down, and not acquiring any good players for their offense. It doesn't seem like they want to win now. Maybe save picks for the future. So maybe that's not a good spot for him. What's gonna happen, Jimmy G? I don't know. It might have to happen in training camp now. And then a good quarterback goes down with an injury, and then a team acquires him because the Niners held on to him too long through the surgery. Like, now what? You're bashing Trey Lance. Shanahan took Trey Lance 3rd overall in a draft that also had Justin Fields and Mac Jones and other guys in it. So he believes him.
But do you think – sometimes I think it's hard because he's going to sit on the bench. It's like, we got Jimmy G. You're going to sit here for a year. We got to get you up and ready. But then when we see him in games, he's not capable of actually playing, like throwing the ball. And either is Jimmy G. I know he's got a little more agility and athleticism to him, but I don't know. I don't think it's the answer. And the 49ers were lucky to get where they got, and even lucky to beat the Green Bay Packers, which was absolutely amazing. It was all just their defense. So I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they need to make a bigger move than just, I think they get rid of both of them, but I know they're not going to do that. Trey Lance.
Yeah. And they didn't get rid of Debo either. Did you think Debo would be traded last weekend?
Does he have a trade clause where he can determine where he goes?
No, he's on a rookie contract.
He's on a rookie contract. I don't know. I don't know if they're talking with him and trying to make it like comfortable for him, but they've been getting like 1st round pick offers. They've been getting all this. I mean, Debo is their offense, right? So if they got rid of him, you might as well start all over. So I don't know. And
that was new. When last year started, Debo wasn't their offense. We didn't know much about Debo. He came on in 1 year, so you could be selling high on one hand. On the other hand, he's got 2 years left on his rookie deal. He's pretty cheap still. Apparently, he misses his family in South Carolina. He wants to play on the East Coast, and that's where all this is coming from. It's not because he's mad at the Niners for any reason except that they exist in California. But as we're both sitting in California, I don't know why you want to leave this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What else you got?
I got sticking with NFL. Can we do a little Scandal City?
Oh, yes. Where's Scandal? There it is.
Time to dig up the dirtiest stories around the sport world in this week's Scandal City.
This is one of our classics, Scandal City. I'm glad the drop is back. So Vince Wilfork, he won 2 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. And maybe you saw this story, but his son stole both of his Super Bowl rings and sold them for a combined $62,000.
That's it.
And that's it. Is that it? So he got $31,000 a ring. Let's start there. Did you think the rings would be worth more?
I feel like they got a lot of bling bling on them. Like there's a lot of diamonds. It seems like that size of ring that can fit on a man that large should be worth a lot more than $31,000. Because I feel like you get a wedding ring and you get a little thing right there. It's like $20,000. Like, okay, so this ring should be worth a lot, but
But are they all that nice of diamonds? Is the wedding ring a little?
I don't know.
Was that the price of yours? I don't know anything about jewelry and these things,
Yeah.
but I did wonder about the price. I thought it was a little high, 31,000, because you think every player gets it. That's 53 players. All the coaches, that's like 20 coaches. All the support staff, that's hundreds of more people. How much does the organization spend on rings when you win?
So you think they're just? I don't know. I feel like they have some sort of value, right? They can't just be some random ass. Like fake rings, like whatever those like
not fake, not at all. The Braves, they have these amazing rings and they open
right.
and we got lights popping out now for their World Series. I don't know. We might need a ring expert to break down like championship rings for us. That could be some good off-season content. But they found him. They found his son. They got the rings back. Son arrested in jail. So Vince Wilfork's family not enjoying this.
I don't understand the thought process for his son. Like, why are you selling his rings? What's going on? These stories never make any sense. It's like,
no.
Yeah. So good.
A lot of times it's drug use. When you steal from your own family, it could be drugs. Not saying it is here, but that's one. I got one more NFL story. Back to the Dolphins. Can we play conspiracy theory music?
I didn't add conspiracy theory on here.
Do you have anything that can get us into an alternate universe here?
Okay.
Breaking news. Okay, breaking news. Not quite, but not involving Gronk, but in the same state. So we'll go with that. So basically, this is my conspiracy theory. We've been talking about this. I'm going to keep plotting it along until it happens. Maybe it doesn't happen until 2023, but I'm going to keep the breadcrumbs for you here.
Yeah, keep it going.
So we know that Tom Brady was about to join the Dolphins, but we have more information on this now.
Okay.
So Brady was going to join the Dolphins as president of the team. As president of the team and not play right away in 2022. He was going to take the year off from playing and just be the president and begin building the Dolphins franchise. And why? Because the Bucs still had him under contract. So the Bucs would have had to acquire draft picks from Tom Brady, the Dolphins president. He would have had to trade for himself basically, and he wouldn't have wanted to do that. So he wouldn't have played this year, but he would have had a lieutenant as a head coach who was going to start rebuilding the Dolphins franchise for Tom Brady. I don't know if you heard this, but it was going to be Sean Payton. Sean Payton abruptly stepped away from the Saints.
Whoa.
He said, I might want to coach again soon in his press conference when he left the Saints. And now he's joining Fox for the year. He's not even on the main Fox studio team. He's going to be on the B-tier Fox studio team that doesn't even go like across the whole nation. It's kind of weird. So it's going to be Brady as president, Sean Payton as head coach, and then Brady in 2023 was going to end retirement and come play for the team he built in this triumphant return in 2023. And the breadcrumbs, like, what?
So kick Tua out of there. He's no longer a quarterback.
He would have figured
46 years old. I'm coming back.
But the reason I think it could still happen is because it can. He is not under contract with any team next year. Sean Payton's not under contract with any team next year. So I'm just laying this out for you, and I'm going to continue saying it in 2023. Tom Brady will be the playing president of the Dolphins.
I love it so much. I think I'm 100% in on it. I think this is a better move, though, for him to play it out this year, win another Super Bowl, and then just go take over a team. I like that he loves Florida. He's all in on Florida. He's like, I'm staying here. This is it. Like, I'm choosing.
Well, that's every crypto bro. It's everyone from the Northeast. It's every Republican. It's like just the list is long who loves Florida right now.
People are loving Florida. What do you want to do? I got food news. You got a J-Dog Takes On. What do you want to do?
We can do a little food news.
All right, let's do some food news.
Here's what I found. Here's some news for food news.
Okay, we haven't done food news in a long time.
Yeah.
Jeremy and I have been to two Dodger stadiums, or two events at Dodger Stadium. Two games. We watched it. The first time we went, I imagine both of us spent near $120 on food.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
At least.
Everything's so expensive.
Yes. So they say the average, I was looking this up. It says, why are baseball games so expensive? The average family of four spent $253 last year on an outing to a professional baseball game. Now that's a family of four. 253 kind of seemed low because I know between us three probably spent well more than $253 because
I'm sure
getting some beers. The lines are long. You got to double down on beers. You got to double fist. So long. So first, how was the food? What did you think? You had a Dodger dog for the first time. What was your experience?
I liked my Dodger dog. I thought it was tasty. Now, they did run out of ketchup on the entire concourse level, so I only had mustard. That was a fail. But I liked my Dodger dog. It was a little bigger than the dogs I'm used to. And also, I was biased because there are two places that I will eat hot dogs, Mike, and I don't eat hot dogs anywhere other than these two places: baseball and golf courses. When you're playing golf or when you're at a baseball game, hot dogs perfect.
So this article had ideas for us to save a little money the next time we go. The first one was opt in for all you can eat seats. I don't know if this is a true thing at Dodger Stadium anymore. They used to have it. They used to have where we sat the second time in the outfield. Yeah. That used to be the all you can eat Dodger dog popcorn soda section.
And how much is that? Not $250? Because
no, I think there was just the cost of a ticket. That was all that you needed to be in that zone.
That's a good
thought. I don't think it's there anymore. Then they said go on promotional nights, get a free T-shirt, bobblehead. Sometimes they come with dollar dog nights, stuff like that.
Mike, you're gonna love this. I just gotta stop you for a second.
Oh, buddy, what do you got?
Here's our bobble.
Here it is. That's our guy, Will Smith.
The bat broke the first day. I don't know if your bat broke, but this is our guy, Will Smith.
My bat's still on. The one I really liked. The other one was like get children's menu. I'm not gonna order off the children's menu. Stop. But the other one was bring food from home. And I didn't think this was an option, but as long as it's in a clear bag. There's only 4 stadiums that don't allow it. Miami, Boston, Tampa, and Detroit. They do not allow you to bring outside food. Dodger Stadium allows you to bring outside food. Guess who's bringing outside food next time? I'm bringing nachos in a clear bag. I'm bringing soda.
Hot dogs. You're going to bring everything on their concession list, but just your own version.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a nightmare. Getting drinks in that stadium was not fun. It's like you go away. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be gone for an inning or two. I'm gonna go try to find like a drink somewhere.
Totally agree. Sitting in your seat at Dodger Stadium, no matter where your seat is, it's beautiful. It's a vibe. It's iconic. It's legendary. It's all those things. Every time you leave your seat, whether you're going to the bathroom, whether you're going to the beer line, whether you're going to get food, whether you're trying to change concourses and you have to walk up so many damn stairs in these hidden dark stairwells. Dodger Stadium is awful when you're outside of your seat. And the whole parking situation is ridiculous. It's like they never had cars parked there, yet they've been a stadium for 80 years. The concession lines, like you mentioned, we went on a Monday and a Sunday, 2 completely different days. The Monday shouldn't have been that busy. The lines were 2 innings long at any time of the game.
It's not good.
It's just like they're not prepared for people. I want to fix it. I don't know. They won't.
I'm going to take you we're going to go to SoFi this fall. We're going to go to a football game. You're going to have the best time ever. There are no lines. Okay. Seats are great. It's just easy to get around. SoFi did it right. I mean, it's a $7 billion stadium. So
I know. I'm glad we go to Dodger Stadium twice a month. We'll keep it going.
I don't know about that. What else you got?
J-Dog takes on before we go.
Let's do it.
J-Dog takes on.
It's been a while. We're looking for sponsors. If you want to sponsor J-Dog Takes On, if you own a resort on a beautiful island, maybe in the Bahamas, but anywhere, just hit us up at the Sports Hangover on Twitter, Instagram, all the places.
Okay. Yeah. Hit us up if you have a resort. Jeremy can go spend some time.
Listen, as we talked about, I'm in LA. I'm not a nomad anymore. We go to Dodger Stadium a lot. So I don't have much to be mad at right now. And so Mike said, we need a J-Dog Takes On from you. I was like, wow, I'm not that fired up about anything. But then it happened yesterday. This is a work story for you.
Wait, after I texted you?
Yeah. J-Dog is taking on the guy who stopped a meeting yesterday in this setting. We're on boxes right now. We're not in the same place. So much of corporate work is on boxes now. Yeah, he stopped a meeting. This is a real story, Mike. He stopped the meeting with many people present and started asking me how often I shave my head, what the cadence is, what kind of razor I'm using. In the middle of a meeting. And there's multiple women like just looking around like, okay. And I'm like so awkward about it. It's like, you really just railroaded this meeting here, man. Like we're talking about real stuff. It was like 10 minutes into a 20-minute meeting, right in the middle of it. He's going bald, he says. And so he starts asking me all these questions. Like, as you know, bald people don't like to talk about being bald, first of all. Second of all, it's in a meeting with all these people present. And so that guy, I hope, 1, your hairline goes faster than mine ever did. And 2, I hope you never join a meeting with me because it's not going to be as good as the first one.
He was probably jealous of your good-looking bald head. Not everybody has a good-looking bald head. He's probably going to have an uneven bald head. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good look when you have like dents in your bald head.
Makes me feel better. Yeah. But that just came to me yesterday. I have nothing to be upset about except that one guy.
That's good. Jeremy's living the LA life. We're working out on the beach, going to Dodger games. You're living your best life now.
It's a new life, that's for sure.
It's a new life. All right, check out thesportshangover.com. Follow us on Twitter at TSH Podcast. By the way, tweeted out right before I got on Twitter. I'm bringing Twitter back. Twitter was no longer getting calls from
bringing something back.
directions. Twitter was dying, and once Elon bought it, I'm back. I'm back in. I'm gonna try to tweet more. So that's where I'm at.
Good. You follow your boy. That's what you should do.
That's what I'm doing. All right. Talk to you next week. See you.